Sales are easy. It's making the call that's hard. Hi, my name is Dave Gallegos. I've spent the last 25 years in the mortgage industry and a lifetime in sales. In this show, I'll bring that experience, expertise, and the experts I've met to you with actionable advice to improve your sales. It's not magic. You just make the call. Hi, everyone. I'm Dave Gallegos. This is Make the Call. This is a podcast that's designed primarily for sales professionals, but focusing on mortgage and real estate profession, primarily mortgage. But definitely there's something here for anyone who's in sales. And that's the topic that we cover. And it's a blast to do this. This is my 17th episode. I'm told that, hardly like it's rare. It's such a rarity to get to the 20th episode. So I'm enjoying doing this. When I set out to do it, I knew that I would have to be consistent in my approach. I got a little bit behind a couple of weeks back, just other things that we have going on here in the business. And we'll be able to talk about that on future episodes. So let's jump into today's topic. So last episode, I talked about the top 5 things that a loan officer controls in their business. And it's on this subject of control. I was inspired, watching the speaker at the Mastermind Conference in Las Vegas at the very beginning of June, Shant Banasian. Here's the first 5 things that I think a loan officer controls. It's the number of dials that you make, the conversations that you have, and the face-to-face meetings that you have on a daily, on a weekly, and on a monthly basis. It's the number of social media posts, likes, comments, and direct messages that you put out every day, week, or month. Like it's that number. It's the number of events that you attend or hold on a monthly basis to grow your sphere of influence. The number of handwritten cards, books, gifts, newsletters that you send via snail mail on a daily, weekly, or monthly basis via email or snail mail. And the number of, snail mail. And then the number of broadcast email messages, videos, texts, that type of thing that you can send on a weekly, monthly basis to your database. So those 5 things are all hustle items. I said when I talked about it, it represents effort and hustle, because that's what that is. Like, if your goal is, we say that you need to have 10 conversations a day, a minimum of 50 voice-to-voice conversations a week. That's hustle. That's picking up the phone and dialing it up, making enough dials to have 10 conversations. You're not going to call 10 people and have 10 conversations. You're going to call 10 people. You might get 2, 3, 4, 5, 3, 4 conversations out of that 10. You probably got to make 20, 30, 40 dials a day to have 10 conversations. That's just how it is. That's a simple list, though. There isn't anything complicated on that list, right? Those are simple things. Phone calls, conversations, social media posts, attending an event, sending a broadcast message. What it takes and requires is organization and focus, right? To your day and to intentionality behind your day. And that's why I call it, just represents effort and hustle. Now I'm going to go over the next 5 things that I think, because we covered this on the last episode. So on this episode, we're going to talk about the next 5 things, because I said there's 10 things that a loan officer controls. These are less about hustle and more about your commitment as a professional to this profession, right? So let's talk about your development, right? So how are you going to develop yourself as a professional in this profession? So here's number 6 on the list, or the first thing in the second. Number 6 is how many times a day that you proactively ask for the business and ask for referrals, right? By the way, just to be clear, your job in this business it's not doing the loan, it's getting the loan. Your job is to ask for business. That's what you get paid for. In fact, we were talking about this on one of our Coffee for Closers Friday calls with the sales team. I asked the question, what if you could get fired for not asking for a referral every time you spoke to somebody in your database? What if you could get fired for that? What if you could get fired for not having 10 conversations every single day? It's a great question to ponder, because if you were being paid a salary and you had a job and the job required you to be in a certain place at a certain time, or you'd lose your job, you'd be there, right? This job requires you to have 10 conversations a day, you're just not going to get fired for not doing it. What you are going to get is not paid. And that's, you're firing yourself in that regard. So how many times a day you proactively ask for the business and ask for referrals? That's number 6. Number 7 is how consistently you record every action that you take in your CRM. I call it a CRM. I'm going to change the name of it here at Zenith Home Loans because I don't want my relationship managed by somebody. I want to change ours to call it a CRB. That's a customer relationship builder. That's what ours is going to be called. Anyway, how consistently you record every action that you take in your CRB and how consistently you complete all the tasks that have been assigned to you by you that day in your CRB so that you capture every single business opportunity. What do I mean by that? I mean, if you called somebody 2 months ago and they said, you know what, I just signed my lease 2 months ago, it's going to be up in 4 months, call me in 2 months, and you schedule a follow-up task to call that client 2 months later, you have a task, it's a business opportunity. If you don't complete that task, you're a moron. Okay. If you just ignore that task, like, well, I don't know if I want to call him. I don't know if he's going to remember, and you don't call, you're a moron. And I don't even know why you have the CRB because then, everybody else calls it a CRM. We call it a customer relationship builder. So it's how consistent are you at recording every activity and completing every task in that CRM? Because if you do that, you're going to have a great business. If you don't do that, you're going to have a sloppy business. That's just how it is. That's number 7. Number 8 is the quality and the completeness of all the loan files that you put together, the expectations that you set with clients and referral partners, and the communication during the transaction to all the stakeholders. That's your clients, their referral partners, their realtors, the other realtors in the transaction, and your communication and expectations that you set with them, and the communications and the expectations that you set with your operations and support team, right? If you're working with a team or without a team, it doesn't matter. That quality and completeness of those loan files is critical to your success. That's number 8. Number 9 is how diligent you are in learning to master all the tools and the skills of your trade, like the technology that you use, the loan programs and the guidelines that you need to understand so that you can properly sell products, like you not properly sell them, but are able to know what a good product fit would be for a particular client situation. All your presentation tools, all your materials, like we use Mortgage Coach here. So how diligent are you at learning to master using Mortgage Coach as a presentation tool? We use a purchase and a refinance breakdown tool that gives a very clear layout of how the transaction is going to flow. How good are you? How skilled are you at learning how to explain that information? That's number 9. And then number 10, the 10th thing on the list is how much you study and rehearse your presentation skills and the conversations that you have with clients and referral partners so that you can maximize your success and your conversion ratios when you're in those one-on-one and one-to-many conversations. And so that's it. That's number 5 through 10. Let me summarize them. Proactively asking for the business, consistently and diligently using your CRM, or what we call it here, a CRB, customer relationship builder, the quality and completeness of your loan files and your communication policy, your diligence in learning to master all the tools that you use, and how much you study and rehearse your sales. So that's your sales presentation skills, your sales presentation rap, like how you communicate with your clients and referral partners. So that's it. There's 10 things. You have to be good at those 10 things, right? Those are the top 10 things the loan officer, and you control this, right? You control number 1 through 5 is hustle and effort. You control how much hustle and effort you put into this. Number 6 through 10 is your commitment to your development as a professional, right? That's what we're talking about. So maximizing your skills in those 10 areas, this is the mortgage business and the real estate business. There's no ceiling on your income. If you're in a corporate sales job, you probably don't know this unless you've done corporate sales, but when you're in a corporate sales job, they put a lot of times there's a cap on your commissions on how much you can make. A lot of times there's, a ceiling on your income potential. That doesn't exist in mortgages. That doesn't exist in real estate. It's one of those, that's what makes it such an amazing business. We've had people that have 6-figure months here. And so when you consider the potential of this career and what it means, I'm astounded by those opportunities. That was one of the things that once I got into this business, and I had no idea that it could be that lucrative. And once I got into it, it's like, man, I wish I'd have found this a long time ago, because it's a career where you get to truly unleash your potential and strive to be the best version of yourself. To me, this is the allure of a full commission, no ceiling on my income job, is that there's unlimited earning potential. I mean, who doesn't want that, right? And so the more you invest in yourself, the more that you can earn. And that's what attracted me to, it's what attracted me to commission sales when I was 19 years old. I knew, man, I was like, I don't want somebody to tell me this is how much I'm going to get paid. I wanted to, I'm willing to not get paid anything if I don't produce anything, which is the risk that you have to take. It's risk and reward, but you have to be willing to take that risk and say, I'm willing to not get paid anything if I don't produce, because I want to produce as much as I can produce and get paid for what I produce. And that was the difference. So those are the 10 things. Here's the deal. The cool thing about this business, at least, and this is really an important fact, is that there is plenty of access to all the information that you would need to be able to maximize your development as a professional in those 10 areas that I listed, right? It's not a secret, right? There's not a secret. Anyone can get a hold of that information. You can study it, you can practice it, and you can put it to use. It's out there. And if you're not sure where to find it, then, ping me and I'll direct you in the locations of places where you can find the coaching that you needed, because that's one of the coolest things about this business that I love, is that the amount of opportunity there is to learn and grow as a professional, which I love to do. If you're a learner, you're always going to do that. So if you're not seeing the results that you want in this business, the fact of the matter is it's time to ask yourself what's holding you back. Because if you're only closing 0, 1, or 2 loans a month and you're not satisfied with that, and I don't know, I'm not saying there's something wrong with you if you are satisfied with it, but it's a hard job closing 0, 1, or 2 loans a month when, it's easier to close. I've said this a million times. It's easier to close 6, 7, and 8 loans a month than it is to close 0, 1, or 2. And the reason it's easier is because you're not desperate. You're not scratching and clawing and working on loans that really aren't very good loans, that may not ever even close. And so it's really important to understand that it's easier to do more loans than it is to do fewer loans. For those of you that are struggling in the 0, 1, or 2 loan arena, 3 loan arena, which is just, it's hard. That's a grind. That's a grind to do that. Plus you're just not that busy. And so it can be a little boring, even if you're supposed to be working in this business so time. But you have to ask yourself what's holding you back. Since what I said is all the tools are available for you to learn how to do this, the only obstacle in your path to achieving the level of success that you've seen others achieve, guys closing 100 loans a year, or 100 million a year, or 200 million, or 300 million a year, like these guys and gals, these are dedicated professionals. The obstacle that's in your path is the person looking back at you in the mirror every morning. That's a fact, because there's models to emulate. There's systems to follow. There's strategies and tactics to put to work. There's tools to master. And it's just a question of, are you going to do the work? Because it always works if you do the work. I've said it a million times. And, another great quote from my good friend, Mike White, is it's one of 2 things. You either don't know what you're supposed to do, in which case you can find out. You either don't know what you're supposed to do, or you're not doing it. And so go back over those 10 things: number of conversations, dials, face-to-face meetings, number of social media posts, number of events, number of handwritten cards and notes, number of broadcast messages, how many times a day you ask for business, how consistently you are recording every activity in your CRB and following up on every activity that you're required to complete today, the quality of your loan files, the quality of your communication, the quality of the expectations that you set, your diligence in learning to master all the tools, and how much you study and rehearse the sales skills that you need to communicate. That's what sales is communication. Those are the things that you control, and you have complete control over your skill set. Then it's you. It's all you. And if you're not achieving them and you don't know where to go, then raise your hand, reach out to me. I'd love to talk to you about what I've learned in my 20 plus years in the business. I got in the business in 1997. It's 2024. So long time. It's still the greatest. It's one of the greatest businesses that you can get into with no college education and just a little bit of grit, a lot of grit and effort and commitment. You can make $1 million a year in this business. It's just a fact. So next episode, I'm going to talk about the 10 things you don't have any control over. We'll dig into that a little bit. Talk about how loan officers spend far too much time worrying about the things they don't have any control over. So we're going to end it with a great quote. The only way to deal with the potential of the future is to function efficiently in the now. And that's what taking control of those 10 items means to me. That's a quote from G.C. Lichtenberg. Look him up if you want to know who he is. This has been episode number 17. Are you kidding me? Of Make the Call. I'm Dave Gallegos, your host. Thanks for listening. And again, don't hesitate to reach out if you'd like some more information about where you can go to find the information you need to grow to become the professional that you know is the potential of success and income that you have in this industry. Thanks, everyone. Have a great day.
Thank you for listening to Make the Call with Dave Gallegos, brought to you by Zenith Home Loans. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to subscribe to the show anywhere you listen to podcasts, and share the show with a friend or colleague who would also find value.